Imagine spending an entire year filming the ultimate healing documentary with your former best friend, only to have the project killed by a single sentence that crossed a line no one can come back from. For the last 72 hours, the One Direction fandom hasn't just been processing a reunion, they've been mourning a betrayal. While the world was watching Louis Tomlinson and Niall Horan share a beautiful, supportive moment in Paris on April 21st, the shadow of a much darker headline was looming. We aren't just talking about a disagreement between bandmates. We're looking at reports of a physical fight in the Wyoming wilderness that left one member injured and a multi-million-dollar Netflix deal in the trash. When Louis Tomlinson stepped onto that stage and thanked Niall for being there, he wasn't just being friendly, he was drawing a line in the sand and showing the world exactly which brothers he still trusts. The factual recap of this One Direction civil war began with a wave of euphoria that has quickly turned into a nightmare. In early 2026, fans were thrilled to hear that Louis and Zayn Malik had finally buried the hatchet and were filming a 3-part Netflix docuseries centered on a U.S. road trip. It was supposed to be the closure 2016 never gave us. However, on April 22nd, The Sun and other major outlets reported that the series is dead. The newest development suggests that during a heated argument on set, Zayn allegedly made a cruel and derogatory remark about Louis's mother, who passed away in 2016. The report claims the situation turned physical, resulting in Zayn allegedly hitting Louis in the face, leaving him with a concussion due to the rings Zayn was wearing. This fallout was the backdrop for Louis's Paris concert on April 21st, where he made a point to shout out Niall Horan. "I've got a mate in the house today," Louis told the screaming crowd. "Shout out to Niall. I appreciate you being here today. Man, it means a lot." Public reaction to this whiplash of emotions has been a mixture of Team Louis, solidarity, and absolute heartbreak. Viral clips of Niall waving from the balcony in Paris have racked up millions of views, with fans labeling it the safe space of the fandom. But the social media debate is much more fractured regarding the Zayn reports. On X and TikTok, a Believe Louis movement has gained massive traction, especially after the director of the documentary, Nicolas Marsh, reportedly posted a headline of the fight on Instagram with the caption, "And there goes the last year of work." This has lent a massive amount of credibility to what many initially hoped was just tabloid gossip. The debate is currently centered on the unfollowing. Fans noticed Louis hit the unfollow button on Zayn immediately after the news broke, a digital move that, in 2026, is the equivalent of a formal restraining order in the world of celebrity branding. This situation escalated because it weaponized a shared trauma. For context, Louis's grief over his mother has been a central part of his solo identity and his connection with fans. By reportedly targeting that specific pain, the reports suggest that Zayn didn't just break a professional contract, he broke a sacred social contract within the band's history. This is everything about influencer and celebrity culture in 2026. Even the most authentic redemption arcs can be dismantled by a single moment of unchecked ego. It affects their reputations in a massive, perhaps permanent way. Zayn, who had been enjoying a career resurgence with his tour and 5th album Chronicle, is now facing a cancelled narrative that feels much more serious than his previous departures. Louis, conversely, is being seen as the resilient leader who is choosing to lean on Niall and the fans rather than engage in a public mudslinging match. Add original commentary and analysis. Why was the Niall shoutout so strategically important? Because it was a vibe check for the entire fandom. By publicly embracing Niall, just hours before the Zayn news went nuclear, Louis was signaling that the One Direction brotherhood isn't dead. It's just selective. It's protective unity. He wasn't just thanking a friend. He was showing the industry that he still has the moral high ground and the support of the band's most universally liked member. Maintain a conversational tone, but let's be blunt about the Netflix disaster. It's a punchy, devastating blow to everyone involved. Short, punchy sentences in the production leaks describe the set as stunned and in shock. Slower, more analytical tone during the breakdown of the rings detail shows the severity of the alleged injury. If Louis really suffered a concussion on camera, the lost year of work the director mentioned isn't just about the money. It's about the fact that they captured the death of a friendship on 4K film. This has effectively turned what was supposed to be a healing documentary into a crime scene of a decade-long bond. we have to clearly separate the confirmed details from the online theories currently circulating. It is a confirmed fact that Niall attended Louis's Paris show and received a public shout-out. It is a confirmed fact that Louis has unfollowed Zayn on Instagram. It is a confirmed fact that multiple production sources have cited a physical altercation as the reason for the Netflix cancellation. The online theories, however, are speculating that there is hidden footage of the fight that is being shopped to other outlets. Fans are theorizing that the argument actually started because Zayn wanted to include too much about their 2016 hiatus, while Louis wanted to keep the focus on their current lives as fathers. There is also a viral theory that Harry Styles was originally supposed to make a cameo in the final episode, which is why the financial loss for Netflix is rumored to be in the tens of millions. The analytical tone of the 2026 rebirth is perhaps the most tragic part of this. Slower, more thoughtful threads on Reddit are discussing how 2026 was supposed to be the new 2016, a year where all four members were active and supportive. By having Zoe's collapse so violently, the healing narrative of the year has been replaced by a relapse narrative. It's a reminder that nostalgia is a fragile currency. You can sell a reunion, but you can't force a reconciliation if the underlying wounds never actually closed. This leads us to a bigger industry question. Is the road trip documentary the new celebrity divorce? If you put two people with a complicated history in a van for a month, are you looking for a resolution, or are you just waiting for the explosion? For Netflix, the answer was clearly both, but they likely didn't count on the fallout being so damaging that they couldn't even air the footage. The upcoming response possibility is an official statement from Zayn's team. So far, the silence from his camp has been deafening. If he doesn't address the Johanna comment specifically, the damage to his reputation within the One Direction circle might be irreversible. Fans are expecting a mental health or misunderstanding explanation, but in the face of a physical injury, that might not be enough. The future impact of this will be seen on July 24th, the 16th anniversary of the band. All members have shows scheduled around that date. If the tension between the Louis Neil Harry camp and the Zayn camp continues, the anniversary won't be a celebration. It'll be a pick-a-side event for millions of people. The unresolved tension is the lost footage. If the director's Instagram post is any indication, there is an entire year of healing content that will never see the light of day. For a fandom that has waited 11 years for these two to speak, the idea that their final conversation ended in a Wyoming hospital is a gut punch that no amount of Paris concert clips can fix. Ultimately, Louis Tomlinson shouting out Niall Horan isn't just a sweet moment between friends. It's a survival tactic. In the middle of a career-defining war with Zayn Malik, Louis is choosing the light over the dark. By the time the How Did We Get Here tour reaches the UK next week, the question won't be about the music. It'll be about whether the One Direction dream can survive its own reality. Do you think the Zoe's friendship is officially dead for good this time, or is this just another high-drama chapter in a bond that is destined to be complicated?